Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be doing wig construction using the sewing machine. I know you want to see this and you gotta see it, guys. It's a detailed tutorial, so just stay tuned so you'll see the end result and see your girl working. Remember to like, subscribe and share. Leave a comment also. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and subscribe, guys. Stay tuned. So the first step is making sure that the wig cap fits the client's head perfectly. So here I measured the wig cap according to the client's head measurement. I made the necessary adjustments and I sewed the wig cap up using the sewing machine. This picture shows you how I sew it. Now I'm going ahead and pinning down the closure to the cap so we can tack it down, because I'm going to use a sewing machine to sew it down later, but I normally use my hand and sew it down, tack it down a little bit. First I pin it to ensure it's pinned where I want it, and then I go ahead and tack around it with the needle and thread. Normally I pull the closure a little bit forward below where the cap starts, and then I pin the back. So I just make sure don't pull it too much, just ensure that it is as snug as possible, and you don't have any space or anything. It's laying as flat as possible. Okay guys, so I forgot to mention that we'll be constructing a curly wig today, but for some reason I thought the camera was recording while I was doing this part, but it wasn't. So I had this video from a previous wig, so I just use it. Forgive me guys. Okay guys, take a look. You see there's no space around the sides, so that's perfectly fine. Now I'm gonna go ahead and just twist this hair up, put it up so it's out of my way, and then I go straight into sewing it down, tacking it down with a needle and thread. Okay, so sometimes I go ahead and I install the closure or the frontal last, but this time I'm going to install it first. I'm going to tack it down and I'm not going to remove it. Normally I just draw the line around it and then sew it down last, but today I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tack it down first, then I sew the bundles down, and after I'm done sewing down the bundles, I'm going to use a machine and go over it just to reinforce it. Yes, to make sure that closure stay in place and it doesn't move. So guys, just stay tuned for it. So what I'm doing now, I'm lining the cap, putting lines where I'm going to sew the bundles. Everybody does their thing different. Sometimes I draw the lines different. Sometimes it just depends on the mood that I'm in that day, because you have many different ways you could draw the lines. You probably see persons doing it differently, but yeah, I do it differently sometimes too. Today's just this kind of day. Okay guys, so this is the result. I'm gonna go straight into tacking that closure down. Okay guys, so when I'm sewing down my closure, I don't start directly at the hairline. I normally start a little bit up, then I go down, then I move up, because I don't want the bump of the thread to be at the earline, because sometimes when I go over the closure with the machine, it sews the stitch that I made with the needle and thread down, so I'm not able to move it. So just in case that happens, that bump is not just sticking out right there, you know. So that's the reason why I start a little bit upwards, then I go down, then I move up. And guys, the stitching method that I'm using is the hemming stitch or the whip stitch. I'm not sure what you know it as, but it's basically just under, out, under. So I'm going under the wig cap and also under the weft of the bundle, and going through and up, and just doing that along the way until I'm done. Okay guys, so I'm done with tacking the closure down, and this is how it looks. So this is the 3 bundle of curly hair that I'll be sewing on the cap today, and it is 2 bundles of 22 and 1 20-inch. So guys, when I'm sewing, I normally use double double the wefts, but I don't double them pre sewing. So I double them while I'm sewing it onto the cap. Some people sew the wefts together and then they sew it down on the cap. I don't do that. I just sew both of them down on the cap while I'm at once, because to me that's just double work and it just doesn't make sense. So for me, I don't know about anybody else, but the most difficult time is the beginning, starting, ensuring that the weft stays where you want it before you start sewing it down. That's the most difficult part to me, but after that we're fine. So what I normally do, guys, I go over the stitch a couple of times at the beginning and at the end, just to ensure that the weft is secure on the cap and it's not going anywhere. So I sew it forward, then I go backward, then I sew it forward. Sometimes I do it 3 times: forward, backward, forward, backward, forward. Sometimes I do it 2 times, depending, but I just go over it just to ensure that it's secure and it's not going anywhere. And guys, if you notice, I cut the bundles. So I normally cut the bundle before I sew the last sew, because I don't want to cut it after I make that stitch and then I cut the stitch that I make and then the wig become apart when the customer get it. So what I normally do is cut the bundle before, or cut the weft before I make my last stitch, just to ensure that we don't cut any thread and we don't have any accidents. And this is the result after sewing the weft down. Yes, man, this is the part that I dread. I don't like the first, stitch, or the first part of starting to sew. Just getting that weft under the machine and ensuring that it's where you want it. It can be a struggle sometimes. But once I get it down, I'm perfectly fine. I have no problems after that. Because sometimes you start sewing and when you realize it didn't catch the end or something, you have to go back and all of that. So I just always ensure that, everything is okay right there at the beginning before I move on. And guys, with the sewing machine, it all has to do with the settings that you have the machine on and the thread that you're using. The thread makes a big difference, and the settings that you're using also plays a very important role in the results that you're going to get. So just pay attention to that. If you're trying to sew and it's not working out, pay attention to your settings and the type of thread that you're using. So guys, after I'm done sewing every row of bundle on, I normally cut the pieces of thread, because I don't want to wait until last, because sometimes it gets lost in the hair and I don't want to send the wig out to my customers with thread hanging all over. So I normally cut them off before you know, the end, so that you don't get lost in the wig or in the ear. Unfortunately, this is the end, but this is a result of the wig. This is the final result. This is what we got. Guys, remember to like, subscribe, and share. Leave a comment, and see you next time. Thanks for watching.